Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. So the company I'm going to look at today is Mirco-X. This is the company that was recommended or suggested by the member of the Kneppy Invest community. And I am happy they did this recommendation. So originally I was just going to appease them by looking at their Appendix 4C, which they released on January the 20th. But as I delved deeper into this company, they did intrigue me by what they do. So I've just expanded this video. I'm going to go do a quick take on what they do, then look at their Appendix 4C, and then finally, and conveniently enough, they have gone into a trading halt on the morning of January the 28th, and I have a quick look at that trading halt and what it involves. But what does Mirco-X do? So they are a mobile X-ray imaging. So initially when I think of mobile X-ray, the first thought that comes to mind is a device that goes from house to house, X-rays your kid's arm because they fell off and you think they might have broken it, and you can do a very quick finding if they did break it, fracture it, that sort of thing. Going to nursing homes, that sort of thing. You don't have to take the resident to the hospital. They can just stay in their bed, and that's probably decreases the stress involved around going to the hospital. So that's what I think about when I think mobile X-ray. Now, this company does have a market cap of 130 million at 37 cents, which was the share price at close of trading on January the 27th. So there is a bit of excitement already in the market around this company, because when you look at their financials, they are a fairly immature company or early growth company. So only revenue of 4.2 million and operating cash flow negative to the tune of $9 million. So they are losing cash. Shares on issue 290 million. That might increase based off the trading halt, but I'll get into that in a second. Now they do have two devices in production. Now the Nano, the mobile X-ray for healthcare, that's the sort of device that goes from bedside to bedside in the hospital. So it's not what I was thinking about mobile X-ray devices. Now the rover does fit into that. So that's used right now for military and is expected to be used remote uses. And when I'm talking about remote uses, we're talking about the point of care. And that is going from house to house, using the device to see if your kid has broken their arm, going to the nursing homes to see if the resident has broken their hip, so it decreases the stress on taking the resident to the hospital, that sort of thing. They're also talking about using this device in small vet clinics and hospitals, so they are willing to expand the use of the rover moving forward. They also have 3 devices in development, and this is where I think a lot of the excitement is right now, because these 3 devices in development have fairly high addressable markets compared to the rover and the Nano. So the first one is the MBI, and this is a mobile backscatter imager, but when I think about this, I just think IED X-ray camera. So IED is improvised explosive device. So this is the camera that goes to maybe the potential bomb and does an X-ray on it, that sort of thing. Now they are talking about this device having high margins because it's fairly unique. So that's sort of where the moat comes into play. So I always like any sort of device, any sort of thing that has high margins. That's very exciting for a company. Now the Brain CT, that's a mobile stroke detection for uses in ambulances. So that's quite exciting in itself. And the last one in development is something that gets me really excited, is because the addressable market for this device is quite high. And that's the airport self-service checkpoint. So what they do is a 3D X-ray imaging of your carry-on luggage. They've already seen some developments, or some contracts in regards to development of this device. So it looks like it is moving forward quite quickly. And I think there's still got to be a few years before we see the first sales of this device. But I think because of the addressable market, the market itself is getting excited about this device and Mirco-X. So these are the 4 devices in production or in development. The mobile bedside, first sales of that device were in 2018. So you can see the addressable markets comparing all 4, and the mobile bedside, the Nano and the rover only have addressable market of $670 million per year in United States dollars. The other 3 have significantly higher addressable markets, particularly the airport checkpoint. But you can see where they are expecting the first sales. And typically when I see the expectations around first sales, you always got to add maybe a year or 2 years, potentially even longer. That sometimes companies are a bit optimistic when it comes to those forecast projections. So backscatter, the IED device, it looks like first sales, they hope, are in 2022, airport checkpoint 2024, and the stroke brain scanner in 2026. So the whole point of me doing this video originally was to look at Mirco-X's Appendix 4C. So here it is. So when I look at the Appendix 4C, the main thing I really look for is receipts from customers, and I'm looking for a trend there and whether the company is cash flow positive or negative. So we do see receipts from customers $1.6 million for the quarter. We'll look at the trend in the next slide. And are they cash flow positive or negative in operations? Well, they are cash flow negative to the tune of $2.5 million. So that's about the annual rate of about $10 million a year they are burning cash. Now, they began the quarter with $15.5 million of cash on hand and finished it with 12.8. So they still have quite a few quarters of cash on hand to fund their operations. And that's on the assumption that they aren't going to burn cash at a quicker rate in the next year or so. Now, there were a few other items of news that did interest me in this announcement. So they were selected by the US Department of Homeland Security for 2 contracts totaling $4 million for their self-service airport checkpoint development. So that's what gets me really excited. So it looks like that product is moving forward quickly. So I am excited by that product. That's the main thing I am excited about this company. They also signed the first military contract with $1.3 million for rover units to supply Australian Defence Force. I think that has something to do with Pacific Islands too, if I remember correctly. So some few interesting things in their Appendix 4C. Now, looking at the trend, so what I really look for here is a positive trend. So I want to see this graph going from really low on the left to really high on the right. And we sort of do see that with Mirco-X. In fact, their compound quarterly growth rate in receipts is at 13.3% per quarter. But it is quite lumpy. You can see some big quarters there and some very small quarters there. Particularly April 2020 was almost not negative, but it's very small. But then the next 3 quarters, the last 3 quarters, are quite high, between 1.6 million and 1.8 million. But you can never rule out the next quarter being quite low. So the overall trend is up, but don't be surprised by some lumpiness within the cash receipts. And this is the chart. So always looking at the chart is always a good thing. You want to see what sort of sentiment is out there. And we saw that shift in sentiment around July and August with Mirco-X. Share price got around 15, 16 cents. That would have been the ideal time to buy in August when the trend changed, the sentiment shifted, and the share price has gone from 16 cents all the way to 37 cents. Over the last month or so, the share price has leveled off. It's been consolidating, which is fair enough because the share price rise has been quite high, quite strong, and you always want to see net profit taking met by buyers who are willing to buy. So we haven't seen any significant decrease in share price, and that's quite bullish moving forward for Mirco-X. Now, I just mentioned they went into a trading halt this morning of January 28, and it's in regards to a material capital raising, which does interest me a little bit because they do have $12.8 million of cash on hand, which, assuming they burn cash at the same rate they did last quarter, which was $2.5 million, they have 5 quarters of cash on hand to fund operations. So when they say material capital raising, I'm interested to see what it is involved. So we're going to have to wait a few days for this, the aspects of this trading halt or this capital raising. They do mention the 1st of February, but it could drop any time before then. I'm just really interested to see what material means. Is it in regards to a material contract which they have to fund? So if that is the case, that's even more exciting. But it could be for many reasons. So that's why I'm interested in this trading halt, to see what it is, why this capital raising is material. So that's all I've got on Mirco-X for today. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Now, I am not a professional advisor, so if you do need to seek professional advice for your own circumstances, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified. So that's all for this video. Have a good day. Talk to you later. Bye.